Do you want to increase the flow of abundance in your life, but you're not quite sure how to do it? I'd like to share 4 action steps that you can take right now to expand your flow of abundance. I'm going to share a real life example where I practiced these steps and experienced an upgrade of abundance in my own life. And you can do that too. Toward the end of the video, I'm going to share a principle that when practiced can shift your entire perspective on what it means to live abundantly. So stay tuned for that. That's coming up soon. So let's dive in. Step number 1 to expanding your flow is to anticipate expansion. Beyond your plans, beyond your expectations. You see, there's a difference between expecting and anticipating. From my perspective, anticipating is more open. It's a little like when I open my hand. I am inviting. It's an invitation. When I open my hand, I'm inviting others in. And when I open my heart, I'm inviting others in. I've been working on a project, and that project is going over budget. I had planned and made a list, okay, of what my expectations were. And this project was actually exceeding my expectations, but it was costing more than I thought it was going to. And so how do I anticipate? How do I change going beyond my expectations and my plans? What I can do is I can choose to ask what if questions. What if this project could somehow cost me less than I was expecting? That's a opening of my hand. That's an opening of my heart. Step number 2, I ask for that expansion. I allow and invite others into my flow. What that does is, as I set my intention, as I open my hand to those other possibilities, there are others that can add into the resource. The conduits become more in this flow. So I set my intention. The paint, the materials in this project were more expensive than I thought, but I'm actually found that I'm using less paint than I expected. Could this be that reduction in cost? Could this be a way that I am experiencing an expansion of my capabilities, my capacities? I'm not sure. Maybe my contractor was doing something different somehow with the than what the square footage the coverage that it was listing on the can. I'm not sure. But as I ask myself, I ask for others, and I ask for the beyond, for help, I find that I am ready to accept the gift of expansion, which is step number 3. Step number 3 is saying yes. Saying yes to this expansion, saying yes to the possibilities in both my perspective and my experience. Because my attitude follows my experience. But my experience also follows my attitude. So this paint story, right? I used a lot less paint than I thought I was going to. So I'm like, awesome, I'll be able to return it to the store. Except when I went to pick up one of the boxes that contained 4 gallons of that paint, the box ripped, I lost my grip, cans fell, and every single one of them was major league dented. And I'm like, oh man, you gotta be kidding me. Like, this is several $100s worth of paint that is now damaged. I probably can't get a refund for it. And I'm like, oh man, like this always happens to me. and my experience started to affect my attitude. And that attitude, I started to spiral. Ever done that? Spiral downhill, quote. And then I realized that I am accepting this gift of expansion in my perspective, in my experience. And even though right now it kind of sucked, right? It was an expansion nonetheless. Okay? Seemed like a backward expansion. Okay? Seemed like a bad expansion. But I choose to embrace it. Okay? And so I say yes to the gifts, even when those gifts are things that I'm not so sure that I want to experience. My contractor offers to take these cans, beat up cans of paint back to the store. And I'm like, that is never gonna work. But I'm like, you've got more experience than I do. And to be very honest with you, I was so upset and so bummed out. Like I really didn't even want to try. Okay. And so, he offers to take these cans back and I start to hit step number 4 in my expansion of living in abundance. And that is, I chose to appreciate this. Now, that was difficult and is difficult. When things don't go the way we want them to, when things are unanticipated in a bad way, it is tough to appreciate that expansion. I'm with you. I get it. I get it. Absolutely, I get it. But I chose to say yes, to be thankful no matter what that expansion looked like. I chose to express gratitude. In Freedom Flow, we call gratitude a genuine relational attitude. GR, attitude. Get it? Several days later, Bill calls me up and he's like, you're never going to believe what happened. And I'm like, oh, okay, this sounds promising. He went to the paint store. He invited the manager to come out to his car. And he said, I know that these cans are like all beat up. This is the situation. Here's what happened. And when he pulls the cans out of the car, he's left them in there for a couple of days. Temperature's been hot. He pulls these cans out and he's like, they are so much less beat up than when I put them in there. Miraculously, these paint cans seem to have undented themselves. Okay? Did the pressure inside the can increase with the temperature and like pop out some of the dents? I appreciate the expansion, literally and figuratively. And so I choose to look at this as a supernatural expression of a natural phenomenon. I'm like, who would have guessed that somehow, miraculously, these paint cans would be less dented? So store manager's looking at them and he decides that he has he's like, you know what? He's like, I've got some painting contractors that buy this stuff all the time. They're not going to care about these little dents. I'm going to give you a full refund. Okay? Needless to say, my painter was a little surprised. And I was a lot surprised because I had written it off. I had said, there's no way. I had closed my fist again. I had said, this isn't a possibility. Like, this is a loss. Like, this is not going to help. This is not going to work. And somehow it did. So both Bill expressing his gratitude, he's like, I thank the manager profusely. He's like, I really appreciate that. I'm thanking Bill, the painter, because I'm like, man, I was never going to take that back. Like it was going to rot in my garage or something because I was just, and I was going to be depressed every time I looked at it. So And Bill and I both are in awe and wonder of how in the world actually did that happen. Okay? So, that's my story. Step number 1 to expanding your flow is to anticipate the flow. Step number 2 is to ask for the expansion. Step number 3, to accept the expansion. And step number 4, to appreciate the expansion. My name is Gene Newswanger, aka Professor Smiley, and I'm a pharmacist, a business professor, and the creator of the Freedom Flow, a transformative framework that empowers individuals and communities to live relationally, abundantly, and with purpose. So do you want to hear the Freedom Flow gem? This is a principle that when you practice it can shift your entire perspective on how we live in abundance. When we choose to live in connection with others and the beyond, we can flow in an ever-expanding abundance that goes beyond what we could ever think or even imagine. I'll repeat that. When we choose to live in connection with others and the beyond, we can flow in an ever-expanding abundance that goes beyond what we could think or even imagine. My name is Professor Smiley, and we'll see you in the next video.